you attach them to both sides of the bridle and you hook them through the stirrups and you stand behind them, and this gives them the feeling of being ridden, but it gives you the safety of being able to be back on the ground. And so what we were doing was we were teaching him to turn and to stop, because he had never done any of this. So this was kind of the first step that we were being closer to riding him. And so each time he kind of like pulls his head is whenever, sometimes you notice it, sometimes you don't, but I'm asking him to turn constantly. So when he turns right there, I'm pulling on the rein, and as soon as he gives me his head, I let go. That's his reward of that release of pressure. It's teaching him that he's doing the right thing. And so we did this for a while, and then we were teaching him to stop. And so around this corner, I hold my arms straight and just kind of like stop him, and he stopped, which was really good. I was not expecting that. He did kind of like pull his head, but he had never done that before. Never. And so it baffles me at how smart these animals are, and that they'll give you what you want. You just have to put it into their language. On the 4th day, we made really, really good progress. This was the first time that I got to sit on him, and he had only been worked with 4 times, 4 hours. I was like, that is amazing. And so the first thing that we did was we put him up next to the mounting block, and I was on the mounting block asking him to move around it, and then stopping him to where I wanted him and having him stand still. This was very, very hard for me to learn. This was one of the most challenging things that I learned, which sounds interesting whenever like you would think that riding was the hard part, but for some reason I could not get the hang of this. I tried so many times, and so he's hooked up to his lead and I'm holding his lead, and he goes around the block, and if I pull on the lead, he'll move his hind end around the block. And so that's what I wanted him to do. But what I didn't figure out is that I would do the same thing whenever I was trying to ask him to stop, and so he would move his hind end around, and I'd get so frustrated because that's not what I was asking him, but that's what I was asking him before when I was asking him to move his hind end, so that's what he thought. So I finally figured out that I have to pull up to stop him, not out. And once I did, it was such a relief, because I felt like I had so much more confidence in myself that I could do this, because I was getting super frustrated because I could not figure it out. And so this is him going around the block. So I pull on it for him to move his hind end around the block, and then on the other side is when I'll ask him to stop. So I was pulling him in, expecting him to stop, versus up, but once I finally figured that out, we were good to go. So this is helping him learn how to stand still whenever people are going to get on him, because a lot of horses, whenever they figure out that they're going to be ridden, they'll move their hind end away from the block. Like they will specifically, you're up there about to get on them, and they will move their butt out of the way so you cannot get on them. And it's the most frustrating thing, because then you'll put them back over there and they'll do it again, like time and time, and it doesn't change. And so by teaching him this now, whenever he's being ridden on a daily basis, he's not going to have that problem. He's just going to stand still. In this next video, I start out by laying across his back as I did in the day 2 videos. It's the exact same thing, and this was just helping him with the weight again. And so Chris asked me if I can like shift my weight up, and so that's what I'm doing there, is trying to pull myself up versus over him. So he was being a little butt and wouldn't stand still, but whenever he finally did, I could manage to get my weight up onto him versus over him. And so I was like sitting here and he was like, okay, well, can you pull yourself up? I was like, yeah, sure. And so I sat up. And then he was like, okay, well, you know, just put your leg over him. I was like, what? Are you serious? And so I did it, and he just stood there, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm sitting on you. Like, this is happening right now. And he's so, like, he could not give a care in the world that I'm up there on his back. Like, that horse that you just saw dart across the back, he was brand new that day, and so he was like running around everywhere trying to figure out what to do and where to go. And so if you'll watch him whenever he stops moving, he stands there, and then all of a sudden you'll see this horse come darting across the back, and he does nothing. He just stands there. I was like, oh my gosh, you are fantastic. Like, horses are herd animals, so whenever one horse runs, they all run. And so I was really surprised that he did not move at all. And so I was very, very happy that he trusted me to be on his back, and that I had that confidence to be up there and not be scared to like get bucked off. But as soon as I put my leg over him, I just had the biggest smile on my face, and I could not stop smiling. And it was because I had never done that before, and I know in that moment that if I had any doubt that this is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, that it all went away, because just sitting on his back was probably the most rewarding thing that I had done. And honestly, when training him, the horse gives you all the praise that you need. Whenever he does what you finally ask him to do, it's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And it's just an amazing feeling. On the 5th day, we practiced mounting and dismounting, and so since I had been on his back, I wasn't as nervous to get on him, and so this was the first time that he had anyone just getting on and off of him, and he doesn't care about anything. He's just like, all right, it's cool, it's whatever. This was just getting him used to a lifetime of people getting on and off of him. And afterwards, I will walk him around, and this is just allowing him time to think and process about what's going on, and get him thinking, really. The next video is of his first steps with me on him, and so I cut out the video to where I'm already on him, and so in the beginning I got on him, and then Chris came in and was talking to me, and so Chris was in there in the pen the whole time, and what Knight was doing was basically following Chris around. And so we got him to a point where he stopped, and then I would click and ask him to go, and then he would just follow him, and then he would just stop right where he is. And so that's what we basically did in that day, was just having him getting used to having me on his back. And so whenever he would stop, I would think, oh yeah, I'll just put pressure on his side to get him to go. But I forget that he has never done this before, and so I was not in there steering him or stopping him, and so it was really weird because I couldn't use the reins and I couldn't use my feet. And I've ridden basically like all my life, and I mean, I've always ridden trained horses, so it was really weird riding him without being able to control him. So if he like decided that he wanted to dart off in a circle, all I could really do was hold on. But he didn't. He was super chill about it the whole time, which is really good. Another thing is that I didn't really understand that he didn't understand what I was doing. I was like, okay, yeah, well, I'll tell you to go here and tell you to go here, and I'll ask you to stop. But that's not really what I could do because he didn't know that because that's what we were teaching him. This is the last day, and probably the most exciting. And so this is another video of him trotting, and as in the first video, it took him so long, it took so much pressure to get him to move up. So watch him now. So he starts to go off in the corner. I'm like, no, 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 don't do that. So as you could see from before, whenever I was right there next to him with the crop, just like swinging it, like go, 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 I just got to step back and was like, okay, you do your thing, I'll do my thing. And even though he's still kind of like, even though he's going fast, he was still relaxed because he still would stop every now and then, but then it was easier to get him going. So like, what did you guys notice compared to the first video? And did you guys notice that it was a lot easier for me to, like, I just barely had to go, okay, go, and he would go. So to me, that was a great feeling, knowing that I did that. Like, I made him how he is now. And the next thing was, it was basically the same thing, but he was on a lunge line. And so this was improving his endurance, because I would, every time he'd stop, I'd make him go again. And also teaching him steering as well, because it was attached to his bridle. And so that's actually a driving rein, so that's how long they are, but use it for a lunge line. It works. And so he would stop, but I mean, I barely had to do anything to get him going again. But he's stretching out his legs, he's in the right gait, and he's got his head down. Everything that you could want in a brand new horse, there he is. And then the last video of my experience was his first real ride. So in this one, I did steer him, and I did stop him, and I did use my legs, and it was awesome, to say the least. So you'll see me pick up one rein on the right side, and so he got too close to camera. But I'll pick up one rein and bump with the same leg. So if I picked up the right rein, I would bump him with my right leg, and that's teaching him to turn, because a lot of horses at the ranch I work at take leg cues, which means that you can steer them more with your legs versus the reins, and so which just teaches them to think more. And so every time he would stop, Chris was like, praise him, like pat him, tell him he's good, like reassure him that he's doing the right thing. So every time he stopped, I would pet him and just let him know that he was doing the right thing, because this is teaching him that if he's ever like in a situation, he'll stop. Instead of running, he'll stop, which is good, because if he's ever in a situation where he thinks he needs to run, he'll get scared and stop his feet versus taking off. So that's what we were teaching him to do. And so right now I'm lifting the reins and I'm clucking at him, and he goes. And I was so happy, because the first time I did it, it took him a good minute for him to go, versus here it took him maybe like 30 seconds. So it was a really great improvement, and he has come such a long way from whenever we first started, and I'm so proud of that I was able to teach him everything so far. He is very, very smart, and he can be stubborn sometimes, but I don't think I could have asked for a better training partner. Does anyone have any questions about anything from the videos? Okay.
Your mentor, is he working with the horse and everything like that?
No, I did that all by myself. Whenever I wasn't there, Chris wasn't working with him, and in all the videos that we shot, it was only me working with him, but Chris helped me a lot. Like, he would show me how to do it and then I would do it. So he did help me a tremendous amount, but whenever I was not there, he was not working with him. So I did it a lot.
Do you ever get scared that the horse is gonna like kick or something, or you're scared they're gonna charge you?
Okay, especially the first time I sat on him, I didn't know what was gonna happen. I thought he was gonna buck, because I've been bucked off like 2 or 3 times and it's awful. And so I was so nervous, but we established that bond and that trust that I wasn't afraid that he was gonna kick me. And even though I've known him for 3 years and I've been around him, I was super cautious during the whole thing, and I would kind of stay back. But I also knew the line that I could get to without crossing. So it wasn't that big of a deal. And because I've been around horses so much, I don't think about that a lot. I just kind of do things, which is good and bad. Okay. Yes. Some were my mom, and a lot of them were Chris himself and his wife Karen. So I'm very thankful that they were able to help me out with this, and so I could put this together for you guys. So my goals for the future, I am excited to almost be a senior next year and am ready to graduate, even though that sounds really bad, but I'm excited for college. And I'm also very excited to say that I have chosen where I want to go to college, and that I am applying to A&M Commerce this August, and I'm really excited. They offer an equine science program, and it's one of the only schools in Texas that actually does. And so I'm actually changing from a double major to majoring in equine science and minoring in agribusiness. I chose this because I've realized that I really want to focus more on the equestrian side versus the business side, but I want to have that business minor so that whenever I run my own business, I know what I'm doing. In the very, very far future, I would like to build my own facility and have my own training ranch, horse ranch, and I hope to continue working with Knight over the summer. Thank you so much for listening, and I want to extend a special thank you to my mentor Chris and his wife Karen for taking me under their wing and helping me these past 3 years and allowing me access to everything I needed. It's been such a pleasure working with you guys, and another big thank you to all of my friends and family who have supported me through all of this.